Morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there have been no preliminary matters on the AM docket. Case number 1, Yasmin Karmanian, Joseph Schwartz, and George Hamonis, Suspended Brewing Company, LLC, creating this Suspended Brewing Company, 912 Washington Boulevard. This is a Class D beer and wine license. Class D beer license, an application for a new Class D beer brewery license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 2-207, small f6, authorizing the board to grant an on-site consumption permit to the holder of a Class 5 brewery license. This request is for delivery of alcoholic beverages. Please come forward.
Good morning. For those of you who have not appeared before the board before, I just wanted to advise you we are televised and on the record. And in order for you to be heard, you need to step up to the microphones here and speak into them, not this close because it's bad, but about this distance. Because we're being recorded, if you would, before you speak, state your name into the record and spell it for our reporter, I would appreciate it. Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
My name is Joseph Schwartz.
Yes.
J-O.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes, I did.
That's fine. You could be sworn first, okay? I didn't mean to do it that way. Okay, who's going to speak for you? Please come forward. And your name is?
Yasmin Karamian, Y-A-S-M-I-N. My last name Karamian, K-A-R-I-M-I-A-N.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So tell us about this operation and what it is you're seeking.
Yes, we are a small brewery located in Pigtown, Baltimore. This is our team. This is George Hamonis and Joseph Schwartz, and I'm Yasmin. We run the brewery. We're a very small production. We make about 5 barrels each time we brew a beer. We have a capacity of 105 people in our brew house. We're looking to be really a community center and focus on getting people in Pigtown to come to our brewery and be on Main Street and help to work to flourish the economic development that's happening in Pigtown right now.
So you would just be selling beer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you have the license, I see, as a manufacturer of beer.
Yes. in
Okay.
the state.
And are you all on that license? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The facility where you're going to be doing this, are there going to be any changes to where you were brewing in order to open it up for sale?
No, it's in the same facility that we've been brewing.
So it's fully operational.
It's fully operational. Everything's ready to go.
Okay. You are all of you aware of our rules and regulations?
Yes.
Okay.
An alcohol awareness course. Have you all
Yes,
taken them?
I have our certificates. I made a little packet of
You could give them
information.
to Miss to Stacy here on my right. Miss Russell. That was an older person's hesitation there.
Copies. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is attractive, thank you.
Oh.
And so for the record, we have photographs and a letter from the Pigtown Main Street in support of the application. And let's see what else we have here. Citizens of Pigtown, a letter in support, and a letter from Andrew York, President of the Camden Crossing Homeowners Association, in support, and the certificates for you and for Mr. Schwartz.
Yes.
Okay.
And what about Mr.
Hamonis?
Hamonis?
We are planning on doing a, when we have our team ready for the grand opening, we have, we went to UMBC, an advisor from UMBC who does the training, and he's going to come on site to do training for any of our staff. We want to make sure that everyone has the state certification.
Okay. And how many people work with you?
Currently, it's the 3 of us. We've had, through our state license, we were able to do a few weekend tours and tastings to give the neighborhood a preview of our space. So we've had a few volunteers, and once we open, we plan to have a small staff, but hopefully about 5 people, and have them all certified.
Okay. Do the commissioners have other questions for the applicants?
I don't have any other questions.
None.
Okay. Do you have anything further you want to tell us? All right, then, on the basis of the materials contained in your application, the testimony that we've received this morning, the exhibits which will be received in evidence, I would vote to approve the application.
I concur.
I agree that the application should be approved.
Good luck to you folks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
I don't know if Stacy needs these or not.
Yes, she needs. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan. Thank you.
Jennifer Hahn and Paulette Winder, Dubihan Underground, Inc., trade name pending, 1203 West Mount Royal Avenue. This is a Class B, a beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1603, C, large I, requiring $200,000 in capital investment, seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people. This is a request for live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Please come forward.
Can I ask you two of you to raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And what are your names?
Phil Hahn, Philhan.
Jennifer Hahn, JENNIFERHAN.
Okay, and Ms. Winder is the resident on the license? Will be.
Actually, Jennifer Hahn is also the resident. We have two on there.
Okay, so tell us about your operation.
Sure. So Dubihan Underground, DBA, still to be determined. It's a pizza restaurant in kind of like this gray area of Mount Vernon, Bolton Hill. It's in the Fitzgerald Bizzuto property, if you're familiar with that, on Mount Royal Avenue.
Behind the University of Baltimore.
Yeah, exactly. So right in between UB and Micah. Again, like a neighborhood restaurant, we just want to serve pizza, some burgers, have a bar program for kind of that community vibe of having, craft beer, some cocktails, and some wine. In our liquor license, we kind of checked box everything. I've gone through this process before and had to come back twice to be able to do that. So I learned my lesson, and this time we went for outdoor seating, which Bizzuto property would very much like to see, in addition to beer and wine delivery and live entertainment and catering.
And so what do you have in mind in terms of live entertainment?
Sure. What we found, and I currently have a license as well at Doobie's at 802 North Charles Street, so I've been here a couple times for that. We just have such a huge following with the Peabody student user base that they love coming in, just playing like small group bands, like 2 or 3 max, and it's like non-amplified. They just like having their audience come in and just kind of create some background music.
Okay. And do you have evidence of the $200,000 investment?
I do. So I'm going to go ahead and submit a few documents for you.
Ms. Russell, please.
Yeah, thank you.
So this in front of you is an initial bid from J.C. Porter Construction that kind of outlines what they think it'll cost. I mean, we haven't gone back to them to kind of negotiate those numbers, but it gives you an idea that this project is going to well exceed over $200,000.
And you've got the financing in place?
We do. So we've saved quite a bit. And we have financing in place to move forward with this project as long as we stay within budget. So we do need to come down a little bit from where they are, but again, it's still very initial. I'm also going to submit 3 more documents, if that's okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
So these are also letters of support from Councilman Eric Costello of our district. You'll also see support from MRIA, which is the Mount Royal Improvement Association, and then lastly from MVBA, which is Mount Vernon Belvedere Association. It was rather easy for us to get these letters of support because I think we've shown really strong precedent at Doobie's and Sugarvale that we are a value add to the community, that we know how to responsibly maintain our liquor license, and we're serving properly.
Go ahead.
Ms. Hahn, what's your experience with running a liquor establishment?
So I don't have any personal experience running an establishment with liquor, but my family has owned restaurants for generations, and I am a full-time teacher, and I fully entrust my husband to run the day-to-day basis for this pizza shop.
And then Ms. Winders? Is she going to have any involvement in the running?
No, that was actually a recommendation from Mr. Tom Sakris to have another resident on there. She's been a family friend for probably before I was born. But yeah, she's been a family friend of our families.
Okay. And you have the 75 seats?
We do. I think on our floor plan, we showed 86, I want to say, interior seats, not including the bar, and then 24 exterior. Final seating plan will probably be...
And that's seasonal, I take it?
The outdoor seating, yes, yeah. Although, you know, we've had some very warm winters, so we could probably take that outdoor seating deep.
Not this year.
Not this year. Funny year. Although today it's like 70 degrees outside, so...
Wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what's the status for zoning permits?
This was actually a restaurant before we took over the space. This was Two Boots Pizza, if you're familiar with the space. And one of kind of what made it attractive to us, I used to live in the building and always thought that we could maybe do a better pizza than what Two Boots had. So, you know, there are a lot of upsides. We already had their equipment in place. It's just kind of creating a bar and redoing the space in terms of a little bit of layout. But it was already zoned, I guess, for a restaurant.
And what makes your pizza unique?
It's actually, so this is kind of coming back to a family recipe. Her family represents this group called Bon Fresco, which really got a lot of notoriety for their ciabatta style dough. We want to kind of do a play on that and hybrid between a ciabatta and sourdough. This is like a house.
Sounds very dietetic.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's just a really unique crust. You know, pizza at its core is probably a top 3 food for everyone. And so we're really pumped to just at least try ours.
Okay. I like the fact you have non-boozy drinks as well.
Yes. Actually, you know, with Doobie's experience, we found a lot of success with non-boozy drinks. Even, you know, our own kombucha. So just, you know, our audience in Mount Vernon is very exploratory. They trust us to make good product. We hope that we can do that. And we like offering everything for everyone. We just had a baby not too long ago, so I understand the demand for non-alcoholic drinks as well. My wife had a lot of fun non-alcoholic cocktails.
Do the commissioners have other questions?
I don't have any other
The
questions.
exterior seating, do the exterior seating meets the requirements for exterior seating near the sidewalk or on the sidewalk?
Yep, so it's actually a very deep sidewalk over there, and a good chunk of that property is owned by Bozzuto in terms of how much egress you need for Baltimore City sidewalk. But again, we'll make sure that we get correct permitting and go through the minor privilege process for that.
Anything else, Commissioner?
I don't have any other questions.
Anything
Thank you.
further that you have to add?
Nope.
Okay. On the basis then of the materials contained in your application, your testimony today, and the exhibits which we've received, including the letters of support, I'd vote to approve the application.
I concur.
I concur. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank
Good
you so
luck.
much.
Wait,
Hope to see you guys
Have
there.
to try your pizza.
Yeah, of course. We'll be on the lookout for you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support, Councilman Eric Costello. Applicant exhibits, Exhibit 1, construction proposal. Applicant Exhibit 2, 3 letters of support. Thank you.
Kristen Fink, Margaret Murphy, Blackwall Hitch, Baltimore LLC, trading as Blackwall Hitch, 111 Marketplace. This is a Class B, a beer and wine license, an application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1604, small c, 2, small I, requiring $700,000 in capital investment, 65% of food sales, and seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people. This is a request for live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Council identify themselves, please.
Good morning. Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg. On behalf of the applicant, I'm joined by my colleague, Justin Williams. I also have with me Kristen Fink and Margaret Murphy, who are our licensee applicants, and Derek Fink, who'll be involved in the operation of the restaurant.
Can I ask them to raise their right hands, please?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to, raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Hecker.
With your permission, I'll proceed by way of a proffer. I just have a minor point of correction. When Mr. Page announced the requirements for the license, this license actually requires seating capacity of 150 people by virtue of its location in Ward 4, Precinct 1. So
You think that's good lawyering to increase your burden?
we exceed the seating capacity requirements by a lot, so we're not concerned about that. But this is an application for a new Class B license. It's located in the Candler Building in 111 Marketplace. It's the space that was formerly occupied by Sprint Wireless on the first floor at Marketplace and Pratt Street. In the file that Mr. Williams has handed out, there is a street view photo of that corner of the building showing where the restaurant will be located. It's all being renovated right now. The building is under new ownership, and they're doing a $15 million renovation of the entire building. Their plan is to give it a hip, urban, Soho-inspired millennial makeover. There's an article in the BBJ about this recently, and I've included a copy of that in the file as well. In connection with the upgrades to the building, they are planning to add a new restaurant tenant on the first floor, which is Blackwell Hitch, which is what brings us here today. Blackwell Hitch has 3 other locations in Alexandria, Virginia, Annapolis, and Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. The name refers to the type of knot that's used to anchor a ship to the dock and to the Blackwell port in London. It's known for being or having an urban chic vibe. There's a restaurant review from the Annapolis Gazette in the file as well. It's been very well received down there.
Ciabatta pizza?
No ciabatta pizza, interestingly. More of a seafood American grill type menu, which is also in the file as well. There are some photos of their existing restaurant that you can take a look at in the file. We also have a floor plan that shows the restaurant space of about 10,300 square feet. It has a seating capacity indoors of about 215 guests, so we do greatly exceed the 150-seat requirement, and we vastly exceed the 75-seat requirement, were that the actual requirement. There's a dining room, a mezzanine, and 2 bar areas. We also have bar seating for 36 individuals and a large outdoor patio on both sides of the corner with seating capacity for an additional 112 people. The menu, as I said, is in the file. It has sort of a seafood, a raw oyster bar menu vibe, American cuisine generally. They're planning to be open for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch from 11 a.m. to midnight. They may close a little earlier on the weekend or weekdays, depending on demand. Outdoor seating and live entertainment are both permitted by right in the C5 zoning district. They are planning to have live entertainment with nightly live music Wednesday through Sunday with a weekend jazz brunch as well. The general manager will be Robert Puzio. He's not here today, but his bio is in the file. He has 17 years of experience in the restaurant industry. Their plan for carding individuals who purchase alcoholic beverages will be to card everyone who appears to be under 35 years old and have all of their managers complete the alcoholic beverages safety training course. The restaurant represents a capital investment of $3.9 million, all of which is privately funded. The capital investment breakdown is included in your file as well. You'll see that there is a construction cost of about $2.6 million and furniture, fixtures, and equipment of over $1 million. The restaurant intends to hire approximately 100 employees who are both full and part-time. So with regard to the license requirements for a new Class B license in this location, as we've established, they meet the seating capacity requirement of 150 seats with the floor plan showing 215 indoor seats, not counting the 36 bar stools and 112 outdoor seats. They do meet the minimum capital investment requirements of $700,000. They're showing a capital investment of $3.9 million. And based on their experience at other locations, they don't expect to have any difficulty meeting the 65% food requirement. Ms. Fink and Ms. Murphy are our individual licensee applicants. They are both authorized individuals of Blackwell Hitch Baltimore LLC. Ms. Murphy is our Baltimore City restaurant licensee. She has been a Baltimore City resident for over 20 years. She's also on the license for the Rusty Scupper. Under the alcoholic beverages article, a person is permitted to be on more than one Class B license as long as the second license has a minimum capital investment of $500,000 and a minimum seating capacity of 125 seats. This license meets both of those requirements.
Is she an Eagles fan?
I hope not.
I'm from Philadelphia.
I saw that.
I was born there.
He's from Philadelphia. That's why.
Well, that's all we need to. That's all we need to cover.
Sorry, she didn't.
They're both familiar with the rules and regulations of the Liquor Board and will agree to abide by them. There is a public need and desire for the license. We've included a letter of support from the Downtown Partnership in the file, and there are representatives of the Downtown Partnership here present today. Mr. Barbour and Mr. Dorfman are both here from the Downtown Partnership. And the ability to activate this corner space with a new restaurant that'll bring sort of a chic upscale vibe to the Inner Harbor, we think is very important for Baltimore City. There are a number of existing licenses in the vicinity, but this one is not expected to have an adverse impact on any of them. Like I said, they're targeting a slightly different market than the tourist crowd around the harbor. It's a little more upscale than, say, the Hard Rock Cafe or the Dick's Last Resort. It does, in that vein, also provide a uniqueness of services. It is, like I said, a slightly different market that they're targeting.
Parking situation.
Parking is not actually required in the C5 zoning district.
No, I was just curious.
Well, but it's a good question. Parking's not required, but there's plenty of garage spaces available in the immediate vicinity. They are planning to also offer valet. So we don't expect there to be any type of adverse impacts on, the health, safety, general welfare aspects. So for all of these reasons, we would request that the board approve the issuance of the license. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners have questions?
Excellent presentation. It was a pleasure when you come before me.
I agree.
Thank you.
I don't
Yes.
have any questions.
That's very comprehensive. Okay, so thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council this morning, as well as the exhibits which will be received, I'd vote to approve the application.
I concur.
I concur.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support, Downtown Partnership dated February 5th, 2018. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan. Thank you.
Krista Payton and Sabrina Turner, Urban Access Baltimore LLC, trading as Urban Access, 1 North Haven Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership and location of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license presently located at 1515-17 East Clement Street to 1 North Haven Street. Please come forward.
Council?
Good morning.
Go ahead.
I'm going to recuse myself from this matter.
Okay, so this, Commissioner Jones and I will hear the matter. Mr. Williams?
Sure. Good morning. Justin Williams from the law firm Rosenberg Martin Greenberg on behalf of the applicants Krista Payton and Sabrina Johnson Turner.
Ladies, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Williams?
With your permission, we'll proceed by way of proffer. The licensed premises is 1 North Haven Street. We're requesting approval to transfer the license from 1515 East Clement Street to 1 North Haven Street in the Highlandtown neighborhood. I included some materials in the file for your review that shows aerial view of the premises. It's in the 1-101 North Haven Street redevelopment. It was formerly a rundown warehouse complex. The landlord, Metro Development, spent over $14 million to redevelop the premises. In your file, there's a picture of the before and after at both sites. It's a really cool space that has a unique mix of uses. There's a tech incubator, a brewery, woodworking facilities, and different offices in there. This article in the Baltimore Sun showing one of the unique tenants in there as well. The applicant is Urban Access. They're drawn by the unique mix of tenants and the hip urban culture of the Highlandtown arts community, and they're proposing to open a tavern within the building to be known as Urban Access. Similar to how establishments like an ESPN Zone or Dave & Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese's are restaurants that feature games as a hook. The unique hook for Urban Access is that they are a place for people to enjoy beer and wine, but also throw axes. Urban Access is also founded in Philadelphia. I'm not sure if Ms. Payton's an Eagles fan or not.
I'm not. I'm from Cincinnati.
From Philadelphia. They're inspired by the popularity of axe throwing in Toronto, where more than a dozen axe throwing establishments operate. While not yet popular in the Baltimore area, axe throwing, its popularity is kind of growing nationally in the same vein as other outside-the-box forms of entertainment, such as escape rooms.
Are people allowed to drink while they're wielding axes?
So we can hop ahead to there. So the question most people have is about safety. The zoning board approved this use as a tavern, and they had some questions about safety. I've included in the the exhibits the NATF standards. Urban Access is part of the National Axe Throwing Federation, the NATF, which imposes certain safety regulations on all its members. In addition to those standards, Urban Access has consulted with its insurance provider, which is also financially incentivized to ensure patron safety. And one of the protocols that they enforce is that there's no drinking while throwing the axes. Each axe throwing session begins with a coach providing safety updates, and they also watch them throw the axes. There's pictures in the exhibits that show a coach supervising each throwing lane. One coach supervises 2 throwers.
Is the gentleman
In the
back
shorts and
the coach?
Correct. It's not normal coach. It's not normal coach attire. The NFL coach attire
Mr. Bauer outfit him?
would fit in well with Mr. Bauer's area. In addition to the safety briefings that occur by coaches, as I mentioned, customers cannot toss hatches while drinking. Drinks are not allowed in the throwing areas. Each competitor must sign a waiver and be over 21 years old to compete. We've had some weird looks in other zoning hearings, and so for a point of comparison, I had included in exhibits pictures of the Renaissance Festival where people throw axes without supervision and without trained servers giving beer that have alcohol awareness training. The licensed applicants are...
My wife is a divorce lawyer, so I worry about people going into bars and throwing axes. But
They don't allow- you can't put pictures of people on the target, I don't believe, so there's no threat there. The applicants are Krista Payton and Sabrina Turner. Before starting Urban Axes, Ms. Payton was a finance manager with Procter & Gamble. While she has not held a liquor license previously, she's a certified sommelier. They also operate other establishments around the country with BYOB service. She's familiar with other establishments, at least 5 of which she mentioned, that have liquor licenses and have not experienced any issues with danger, axe throwing while drinking. This is the kind of place where people do shots and then start juggling axes. Also included finally in the exhibits for your file, there's a letter of support from the Highlandtown Community Association. They also are interested in having to have people there in this facility kind of later at night to provide eyes in the street and safety.
So I note that your zoning approval is subject to 4 conditions, and you're familiar with those and aware of them?
We are, and for the board's record, we've filed a motion for reconsideration of some of the conditions that's pending now about the hours of operation and the exact setup of the fencing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in any event, we will abide by the conditions, whatever the zoning board finally allows us to operate under.
Okay. And they, have they had the alcohol training?
I don't know if you had it yet, but they will before.
Yep. Yep.
She has.
Yeah, no, yes, all of our staff is required to have alcohol training before we open.
How large is your staff?
It will start, we have 2 full-time and about 12 part-time now. It will grow to about 45 to probably 60 eventually, full and part-time.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
You did say that you can't throw an axe while drinking. How about after drinking? And can you place a person close to that target?
Sure. So if you look at the photos in the exhibits, you see a little barrier, the wooden barrier behind, which is technically the throwing arena. So any viewers, drinking or non-drinking, will have to be behind the throwing area. People cannot go in the throwing area while drinking. I don't know if they'll enforce strict rules about drinking prior to axe throwing, but there's a coach there, so they'll be able to spot any overconsumption and dangerous behavior on behalf of a thrower.
You can have a way to test the person to see whether or not they meet the standards for not being intoxicated?
Certainly, and as Ms. Payton mentioned, everyone will be trained and alcohol awareness trained, all staff and bar staff and coaches, and so they'll know to spot overconsumption, anything that would be unsafe.
Talking about that breath blower, where you have to blow in, like starting your car. If you blow in, you got a certain
Right. Well, this might be more thorough than a breathalyzer. They'll spot any dangerous motor skills behavior.
I'm good.
Anything further? I think you can sense that we have some concern about the mixture of alcohol and lethal weapons. So we hope that you will be extremely cautious about that. Okay, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, the exhibits that have been received, including the letter of support from the Highlandtown Community Association, I'd vote to approve the transfer of the license to this new location and the ownership as well.
I also approve.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support, Allentown Community Association dated 8/8/2017. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan. Thank you.
Lindsay Henry and Mary Varniff, The Nook LLC, trading as The Nook, 801 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class B, a beer and wine license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service. Please come forward.
I will also recuse myself from this matter.
So Commissioner Jones and I will hear this as well. Ms. Hecker?
Thank you. Good morning, Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg. On behalf of the applicant, I'm joined by the individual licensee applicants, Lindsay Henry and Mary Vanif.
Ladies, will you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
With your permission, I'll proceed by way of a proffer.
Yes.
This is an application to transfer the Class B license held by Building 2 Cafe LLC to a new owner at the same location, 801 West Baltimore Street, which is located in the University of Maryland Biopark. The existing restaurant was on the first floor of what was known as Building 2. The Biopark, I'm sure you're familiar with it, is opened in about 2005, and it has now expanded to a 12-acre campus with 1.8 million square feet of lab and office space over 12 buildings. It's generated $400 million in capital investment and employs 900 people in the biotech industries. There's a photo diagram of the biopark as the first thing that you'll see in the file, as well as a street view photo of the licensed premises.
Did they negotiate with Jane Schaub?
I love Jane Schaub, yes, we
Jane
did.
Schaub is my sister.
You're kidding. You're
Nuh-uh.
kidding.
She's the reason why I'm in there. She's the whole reason I'm there.
We love her.
Wow.
Wow, small world.
She doesn't
Okay.
admit to that, but I admit to her.
I would never have guessed. The licensed premises is about 2,000 square feet of space. As I said, there was a prior operator in there who had been there since about 2009, known as Cafe Gourmet. Their lease terminated in August of last year, and shortly thereafter, the Nook moved into their space. They have a new concept menu design. The floor plan for the Nook is included in the file. You'll see there's a seating capacity of 93 patrons. There's also a large outdoor patio that has seating for 60 people. That's permitted pursuant to a zoning board approval, which is also included in the file. Ms. Henry and her business partner, Jane Pruitt, will operate the restaurant. They have a background in the catering industry. And Ms. Pruitt's experience dates back over 20 years. She began operating a cafe at Hopkins Hospital. The Nook has been very well received since it opened. A copy of their menu is included in the file. They're just breakfast and lunch. And there's also a restaurant review from Baltimore Style talking about the new restaurant after it opened. Goodness. That was the.
Dansky's getting a little out of control.
Calm down, Mr. Goodness. The day-to-day operations will be managed by Tara Frescotti, who's the cafe's manager. She has over 20 years in the restaurant industry. The hours of operation, as I said, are just breakfast and lunch. It's 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. They may expand to a Thursday afternoon happy hour, but they really don't sell a ton of alcoholic beverages. It really is just an amenity for their customers. They only, at this moment, sell beer and wine on premises. They will have a policy that all patrons will be carded regardless of their perceived age, and all managers and staff will complete the alcoholic beverages safety training course. They have invested $85,000 in upgrading the space, and the restaurant has created 8 new jobs. The individual licensee applicants are both authorized individuals of the Nook LLC. Ms. Henry, her background is in cooking, and she operates a catering company. Ms. Vanif is not going to be integrally involved in the operation of the day-to-day operations of the restaurant, but she went to school at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. She's very familiar with the biopark. She's been in the restaurant herself many times. They're both familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. They both agree to abide by them. With regard to the criteria the board are required to consider, there is a public need and desire for the license. There really aren't very many food operations within the biopark. There really aren't any restaurants over in that area. So it really does serve a need for the 900 people who work there and also folks who live in the neighborhood. There's also the University of Maryland School is also very close by, but there are no other licensed establishments in the biopark at all. There is a liquor store located a few blocks away. This license is not expected to have any type of impact on that existing license, but I think that's the only thing that's nearby. So it does offer a uniqueness of services in that there are no other restaurants within the biopark that offer alcoholic beverages. And because there has been a restaurant operating there since 2009, we really don't expect the transfer to have any negative impact on health, safety, general welfare. We did reach out to the Southwest Partnership to let them know about this hearing and the transfer of the license. They have not expressed any objection. So for these reasons, we would request that the board approve the transfer of the license to the Nook.
Commissioner Jones, do you have questions?
None.
Okay. Thank you. Anything further, Ms. Hecker?
Nope.
All right, on the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, which has been comprehensive, and the exhibits which will be received in evidence, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I approve also.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan. Thank you.
Richard DeSantis, secured creditor, Palmares, 1018 Eastern Avenue. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license. Request for hardship extension under Article 12-2202. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky.
Good morning, Mr. Kadensky. Would you raise your right hand, sir?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You're not Barry Canaris, Mr. Kadensky.
No, Barry Canaris is here. He's the
Okay.
one who knocked the
Okay.
back off the.
Oh, okay.
The mayor
So
said-
if he'll just keep him under control, then we'll
It's tough.
proceed.
It's a tough job. After all this excitement today, this is pretty mundane. This is a request for a hardship extension of a license down in the fringe of Little Italy near Central Avenue. Mr. DeSantis is the secured creditor. The debtor had left the premises. If you know where La Scala is, it's like a couple doors down. I know the chairman's familiar with Little Italy. Talking about pizza now. Matthews Pizza, originally. DeSantis is going to have a runoff. Who has the best pizza here? You started the whole thing, okay? And as a result of which, there's some outstanding tax liability. I think you've seen the file that he has to straighten out. But the hardship is if he wouldn't be able to market the license along with the building, would have a really adverse effect. It's been, a license has been there for quite some time.
Do you have any prospective purchasers?
Actually, it probably do. Within about next month or so, I think they're going to have a person to go in there.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Thank you. On the basis of the materials that are contained in the letters requesting the hardship extension, the proffer from council, I'd vote to approve the hardship extension.
I concur.
I concur.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits for the record? No.
Mr. Page?
Mr. Chairman. Yung Fing Chang and Hung Shea, B&A Mini Market, Inc., trading as Mark's Deli, 1301 Bayard Street. This is a Class A beer and wine license. A request for hardship extension under Article 12-2202. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, representing the requesters.
Good morning. Gentlemen, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
First of all, we may realize this is not Yung Fang Chang or Yung Quin Shi. These are the interested parties who have bought the property back and settled in July of this year, and they are the interested parties having bought the property and the license. They had an individual who was to buy, and it's a beer and wine license, a license. They operated as a store with some groceries. They had a person who was interested in going in there. They were proceeding with regard to possible sale, and the deal fell through. So at the time, they were going to ask for, asking for a hardship extension to market the property along with the license. And they have a prospective person who's probably going to be going to license within the next, make an application within the next a month or two.
Where's Bayard Street?
Bayard, was it off of Hanover down there?
I think if you go Russell Street between the Shell and Royal Farm, that's the Bear Street
Yeah.
going to Washington Boulevard.
Okay, I need to get your name here.
Okay, what's your name? Yeah.
Majid Hussain.
Back off, I can't, it's just noise.
Can you get about this far away?
And spell it for me.
M-A-J-I-D, last name H-U-S-S,
Hold on a second.
sorry.
M-A-J,
I-D,
okay.
H-U-S-S-A-I-N.
Thank you.
It's off of Washington Boulevard, Mr. Chairman, directly across from Carroll Park.
Okay. Do commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the information contained in the letter requesting the extension, the proffer from council this morning, and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the hardship extension.
I approve as well.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Ms. Page, I believe that's our morning docket.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until 1 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Now begins the PM session of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there being preliminary matters on the PM docket. Case number 1, 4919 Bel Air Road. This matter has been postponed. Case number 3, 1650-54 East Pratt Street, La Rumba, has been postponed. Case number 4, Elite Lounge, 1571 Ridgely Street. This case has been postponed. All interested parties will be notified as to the new date and time of the scheduled hearing.
Thank you.
Call the case of Louis George, 2 Louis Cantina LLC, trading as 2 Louis Cantina Bar and Grill, 200 South Haven Street. This is a Class B, a beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 3.08A, sanitation and safety, on January the 5th, 2018. Violation of Rule 3.09B, restroom facilities and health regulations, on January the 5th, 2018. Please come forward.
Mr. Page, we have service on the licensee.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, service was made to the licensee or his or her representative on the 29th of January, 2018 at 9:52 p.m., signed by a Mr. Milton Castillo, it appears.
Okay, let's make that part of the record. And would those who are going to testify raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So who's going to testify about the Rule 308 violation? Sanitation?
It's safety.
Yes.
Chairman, Agent Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. For the sanitation, we do have representatives here from the Health Department. Ms. Jessica Speaker, and she can.
Okay, please come forward.
Good afternoon. Jessica Speaker, Director of Environmental Inspection Services.
S-P-E-A-K-E-R?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
On January 5th, there was an inspection conducted at 2 Louis Cantina at 200 South Haven Street. The inspection had 2 critical violations and multiple standard violations, which included a heavy mouse infestation. They had food that they had sitting on the countertop since New Year's Eve. Food was discarded. There were no working refrigeration units in the facility at the time, and general unsanitary conditions throughout, including trash piled up. They had tons of just dirt everywhere. The facility was closed at that time, and they had a reinspection on January 11th that they did not pass, and they were reinspected again on January 13th, and at that time, all the violations were corrected, and they were allowed to reopen.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioners have any questions for Ms. Speaker?
No.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. How about the Rule 309 restroom violation?
I can testify to that. During the inspection,
January 5?
January 5, the restrooms were not up to par. There was multiple things missing. There was toilets that were broken up. And then we also have the chief inspector of the Special Investigation Unit here, Mr. Thomas Wall from Housing, that can also go through other issues with the restrooms and the rest of the building.
Okay. Yes, sir?
Hello, Thomas Wall, Chief for the Special Investigation Unit, acting as custodian of records. One of two.
Spell your last name.
W-A-U-G-H. Investigator David McGinnis was part of the Social Club Task Force and inspected 200 South Haven Street on January 5th at approximately 8:30 p.m. along with the liquor board, the liquor inspectors, and the health department. Upon his inspection, he noted several things wrong with the property. They didn't have heat at the property. They were heating the property with kerosene heaters. He also inspected the bathrooms and found the defective toilet in the women's bathroom, and in the men's bathroom there was missing towels in the men's bathroom, along with missing hardware in both the women's and men's bathroom. 12 notices were issued altogether for all the violations, but as far as speaking to the problems in the bathroom, I have photographs if you like.
That's fine.
Okay.
Now, have you re-inspected?
No, we have not re-inspected, but there has been no permits that have been pulled. They had defective wiring, work without a permit, but you could see that the bathroom had, there was holes in the floor and tile and.
Okay. Has someone come in from there?
There is somebody walking in.
Okay. Okay, anything further on the violations?
The only other thing we have is we have Lieutenant Holmes here from Baltimore City Fire Department, from the Fire Marshal's office, and he also found certain safety violations.
Okay, Lieutenant?
It's Inspector Holmes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said Lieutenant. I apologize.
Yeah, they all get confused with me.
H-O-L-M-E-S?
M-E-S, correct. Dell, D-E-L. On January 5th, 200 South Haven, we conducted an inspection there at the location, and we were able to see that they were using kerosene heater at the time, which is a violation of the safe conditions of the location, and that was abated immediately at that time. A follow-up has not been conducted at that location yet by us. And also, there were another issue of the permit that is required upon request not being on site, and actually it had not even been paid at that time. It was to be, according to the owner of the establishment at that time, he had it in his car to send off.
Okay. Thank you. Anything further? Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No question.
No question.
All right. On the basis then of the testimony received today and the materials contained in the reports charging the violations, I would find a violation of Rule 3.08 small a on January 5, 2018, and a violation of Rule 3.09 small b on January 5, 2018. This licensee obtained a license in 2011 and has been before the board for violations in 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015. Is there an intent to return with these restroom and health rate violations to do a check?
Yes, we'll re-inspect the property. Generally, we wait for the owner to call us, but it's on the list to be re-inspected.
Okay. Are they open?
I haven't been back, but
I was working this weekend, and they were definitely open and operating.
Okay. Well, I'm open to discussion with the other commissioners, but I would impose a $1,000 fine on the first violation, a $1,000 fine on the second violation, and I'd suspend the license until approved by the health department.
I agree with that.
I would agree, but I would like to add with the housing also, because he has some fire and safety issues that need to be inspected under permit.
Yes, that's
Yes,
fine.
that's fine. Given this history, I agree with the fines and the suspension.
Do you agree?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
They're okay on the health department side.
It's housing.
Okay, thank you. They'll have 30 days to pay the fines.
No. Light pole exhibits for the record.
One sec, Mr. Chairman, would you pick up the license immediately?
Yes.
Thank you.
Light pole exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report. Detective Elsie Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, signed summons. Board Exhibit 3, 6 photos of premise. Thank you.
Off the record, yes.
Got it.
For the next one.
Ashley Kim and Gong Lee, Eric Inc., trading as Whispers, 1807-11 Baker Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small I, Class BD7 licensees, open and operating tavern at all times on October the 27th, 2017. Please come forward.
Would all those who are going to testify raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name, sir? Can you step up to the microphone and say, you're Ashley Kim?
Ashley Kim.
Okay. And you, sir?
Tag Kim from the Howdy Bumper.
Oh, okay.
What's your first name?
Tag, T-A-E.
T-A-E. Kim is your last name?
So, Ms. Kim, you were charged with a violation on October 27 of last year that Inspector Perez and Terry Chase entered the establishment undercover, attempted to gain access to the tavern portion, and were advised that it was not open at that time. Do you wish to admit or deny that that occurred?
Guilty.
You say it did happen. Okay. Would you like to explain to us what was going on at that time?
Okay.
Or either of you, but please step up to the microphone. We need to record this.
Can I explain to you?
But please get closer to the microphone. You can pull, okay. Yes, sir.
It's my coworker there, so that time for that, so,
Slow down a minute. It was what?
my coworker, so he said no, but, sometimes.
I am not
he
understanding.
misunderstand for
Oh,
that.
it's coworker. Okay.
Yeah, coworker.
Okay. He did not understand what they were saying? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes, he misunderstood for that, so that's why I'm guilty for that day, for that, but it's now it's every day open for, so it's about.
You were charged with this in June of last year and found in violation of the same thing. Was the same coworker there then?
Yes, sir.
So why is he still working there?
So that's why I stay, every night for, so I change the, schedule for that. I stay every night for,
So he doesn't work there anymore?
He work, but, so I work with him for, every night for that,
Okay. Who was in there? Inspector, so tell us your version and whether they were cooperative with you.
I entered the establishment the night mentioned. I asked to use the bar and I was told no. I inquired about the price of miniature fireball purchase, and as I was walking away from the establishment, he said the bar is open, but we don't have a bartender.
And it was not this gentleman?
No.
It was his coworker,
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And is there someone here from the Matthew Henson Community Development Corporation?
I I'm still waiting for, Mr. It's committee, yeah.
Have you spoken to him before today?
Yes, it's, he said, so meet me like 1 o'clock for right here, but I don't know, he
Oh,
didn't
he said
come
he was
in
gonna meet with you
here,
at 1 today?
Well, he seems to be complaining about drug sales, which has nothing to do with the charge that's in front of us. But, okay. The commissioners have any questions?
None?
Have you gone back? Did you go back or no?
No, I'm not the inspector for the area.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
I'm not the inspector for the area.
Anything further?
No other questions? No.
Okay. So, Mr. and Ms. Kim, on the basis of the information contained in the documents charging the violation, your admission that this occurred on October 27, 2017, the testimony that we've heard today, I find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small double I, open and operating tavern at all times on October 27, 2017. This being the second violation of the same rule within a period of months, I would impose a fine of $1,000, and I'd give you 30 days to pay it.
I'm fine with that. I concur.
I concur.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, down here. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Elsie Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Fossler. Board Exhibit 3, email opposition from Matthew Henson, Community Development Corp. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kim?
Mr. Kim, I can see them.
Page, I believe that's our docket.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until Thursday, March the 1st, 2018, 11 a.m.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.